This is part 2 of Miss Branton's Alexander the Great, Ruler of the World. And today we're going to be talking about the Hellenistic age or the Hellenistic period. But before we get there, why is Alexander so great? Or why do we put the great at the end? Well, he is going to have the largest empire in the world at that time. He's going to, conquer a lot of lands, kill a lot of people, spread a lot of culture, okay? He's going to ensure that Greek culture is going to be blending in with that Persian culture, all right? Remember, he is Greek, all right? He's going to start with conquering Persia, all right? Those two cultures are going to mix. And when those two cultures mix, that's going to create the Hellenistic period. All right. This Greek influence is going to spread all across of his conquered lands. All right, I want to take a second here, and I want to make sure that you know this. All right, Alexander the Great he respected the people that he conquered. He respected their local traditions, their local cultures, their religious traditions, their values. He allowed those to continue. All right. They, in a sense, they kind of kept their own cultural identity. For example, he's going to encourage his men in his army to marry local women. All right. Now these children are going to share two cultures. Okay. They're going to share this Greek and Persian culture. So this is going to be a really, really big deal. Okay. So if you were paying attention, you heard me talk a little bit about Alexandria, and when I was showing you that map of his expansion, I told you we'd come back to it. Well, we're back to it. Okay, now there were a lot of cities named Alexandria. If you saw that last video, I thought that was hilarious. Anyways, sidetracked. Alexandria in Egypt is going to become the foremost center of commerce. All right, so trade in this Hellenistic period age civilization. It had a strategic site in the Nile Delta. All right, if you looked at that map, it was just north of the Nile. All right, ships are going to be able to get in there really easily. All right, it's going to contain 500,000 people. Y'all, that's so many people. This is what Alexandria in Egypt, what we think it looked like, to the best of our knowledge. We're going to talk in a second about the 7 wonders of the world, but I want to mention Alexander the Great's library that was located in Alexandria in Egypt. This library contained it contained more scrolls in one place at that time. Well, I'm talking scrolls from philosophers, Plato, Aristotle, so many of the great minds at that time. It's going to all get burned down. Julius Caesar is to blame for that one. We're not bitter or anything. This historian might cry over that, still to this day. All right. So Alexander the Great's legacy. That's what I'm going to talk about now. His empire is going to become 3 kingdoms. All right, you have Macedonia, all right, which is where he's from, Egypt, and Persia. Talk about cultural diffusion. You're blending all of these cultures together. The phalanx. All right, if you paid attention and you saw in some of these videos that you've watched so far, these are going to be these really, really, really long spears, okay? This is going to help him really expand his empire, okay? If you're running against these people, you don't have guns at this time, right? So you're not going to hit the person, you're going to hit the phalanx. It's going to allow you to do a lot more damage. Fun fact, I don't know if you've heard me mention this yet, but Alexander the Great was always at the forefront of his army. He was never the person in the back. He was always the person in the front. All right, and that is why his army and his soldiers followed him for so long. All right, so back to this whole Hellenistic age. All right, this is going to be a time of great achievements in art, math, architecture. We're going to talk about it. So my least favorite subject, but probably the most influential at this time, is math. All right, you've probably heard the name Archimedes before. All right, Archimedes is, he created pi, or he was the closest to pi. And while pi is extremely important, I think the Archimedes screw is rather important. So you will see that down there in the left-hand corner. So essentially, this is going to take water from these low bodies of water, and it's going to take it with a screw, and it's going to move it up. All right. That is a really big deal at this time. This is a really advanced innovation. All right. This is going to allow the water to go up, and a lot of times it's going to be used for irrigation and irrigation ditches so that you're able to get more water to crops. All right. The only C I ever made in high school was in geometry, and I have Euclid to thank for that. All right, art. Art in the Hellenistic age, it looks very, very, very realistic. All right. Before this time period, art was very, it was made to be perfect. All right. And in this time period, you start seeing people for who they really are. All right. The art starts reflecting that. And now, the 7 wonders of the world. The next video I have for you does a lot better job explaining these than I will ever do. So pay attention to that one, and I'll catch you on the flip side.